Singapore is often called a global city, a place where cultures meet and ideas move fast. In this episode, we are meeting two very different fashion brands, one from Malaysia and one from the United States, both bringing their work to Singapore's fashion scene. What opportunities do they see here? What challenges do they face? And why are more independent designers choosing Singapore as a gateway into the region? We met Casey, co-founder of Partlow, at the Edition Hotel during the brand's first international trunk show. Partlow is the luxury boot label she built with her sister, blending their southern roots with Italian craftsmanship to reinvent the cowboy boot. Elegant, chic and totally modern. And after Beyoncé stepped out in custom Partlow boots on her Cowboy Carter tour, the brand took off and more celebrities followed fast. We sat down with Casey to learn what Partlow hopes to bring to Singapore and why this city matters to their journey. For those who are just discovering Partlow, how can you describe your brand? How did you start it? You just started 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, we started 2 years ago. We started because of the idea. We love cowboy boots. My sister and I, she's the co-founder, we always wore cowboy boots growing up in Jackson, Mississippi. And, we loved to see them in a chic way. I wear a lot of designer brands. I like Saint Laurent, I like Celine. We could never wear our cowboy boots back to them because the boots would look too, we call them yeehaw, too cowboy. And so we wanted to do a cowboy boot that was a little bit more understated. It was very elegant and more modern.
And what makes it so special, different from other footwear brands in the market?
I think it's different because we don't do crazy colors. We do very understated colors. We want the boot to complement your outfit instead of competing with your outfit. The other secret weapon we have is that we put a little bit of padding on the inside so it feels almost like you're wearing a sneaker. So you can wear them all day long, and they're very comfortable.
What are the moments, achievements, that you're most proud of as a founder, your team proud of? Some milestones?
I think I'm probably, some milestones were when Beyoncé wore our boot for the Cowboy Carter tour.
How did it happen?
You know what? They rung us up and said that she would love to have a boot.
So she approached
the
stylist?
So the stylist approached us, which is more through different channels, our PR, and she likes the boots and she's,
Okay, wow.
I know, that's exciting. I think selling out our first collection within 2 months, that was a big milestone for us. That was so exciting, and we said to ourselves, cowboy boots we're going to be able to sell some cowboy boots.
We also sat down with Woon and Jonathan, the creative minds behind UnitedWood, a fashion brand from Malaysia.
Hi, I'm Woon. I'm Jonathan, and we are the guys behind UnitedWood.
While they've also done a trunk show in Singapore, we met them during a private fitting with a client here, Wendy Lon. UnitedWood is known for modern, elegant women's wear with an edgy twist, featured in international fashion publications and worn by celebrities and style icons from Hong Kong to Hollywood.
For me, I'm all about shapes, lines, and he's, because it's evening wear couture brand, he's also very much into this, and especially corseting, how the body can be flattered and twisted at the same time. So this one we are kind of twisting it, distorting it at the hips, giving you exaggerated hips, but at the same time giving you a very pure shape. So this piece that you see on Wendy here is a runway piece. We showed this piece on at the Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week as a runway piece, and no one has actually worn this out before.
I feel
a warrior goddess,
warrior, and I feel confident. I feel empowered because it's such a strong silhouette, and obviously it's not something that I think most people would think of. So having something that is very unique and like one of a kind automatically just makes you feel very special. So wearing something by UnitedWood makes you feel very special, and it definitely feels very empowering.
Sometimes we feel that in design, a lot is going on. Actually, the strength in design sometimes is knowing when to pull it back, to keeping it really pure and really minimal, so that the power is from the less is more. I think sometimes less is more. Less is can be more powerful, and I think this piece, kind of embodies that kind of spirit for UnitedWood. And of course, you have to have a strong person to wear it. I think the woman that we want to project is a very self-aware woman. She knows herself. She doesn't dress for anyone. Okay, she's dressing for herself, and I think that kind of inner strength is what makes United Woman so strong. Our clothes doesn't shout, but there's a quiet power. We prefer to let the work speak for themselves.
Now let's talk a little bit about your brand entering Singapore. Why did you decide to come to this market? Why is it attractive to you as designers?
First of all, because Malaysia and Singapore is really close.
Only 55 minutes by flight.
And we kind of know friends here, and then we are
encouraged by them actually
Yes.
to come and try the Singapore market,
a
right?
lot of our KL friends and customers say, why don't you try Singapore? Singapore is a great market for us. Then we started to plan, and we started to get connection with the local people here, and then some friends even in Hong Kong
Help us out.
to help us out. Yeah.
Something we learned from this, our debut trunk show, I feel Singapore had an energy that we did not expect. It had a very good there was a kind of vibrancy and energy and people who were wanting to discover new brands. And I think that's very, that nurtures design. And we are part of that. We're kind of an ecosystem, I feel, of emerging designers or regional designers. And I think we need people that has a kind of energy to nurture us, to encourage us, to accept us, I think, in a new market. So with this trunk show, we didn't know what to expect, but we knew that we had to do something, and we took a leap of faith, so just do it. Sometimes you just have to do it.
Why Singapore? What opportunities do you see here?
Well, this is our first foray into the international markets, and to be honest, it comes down to my friend Wendy Long. She and I have known each other for a while, and she had said to me that Singapore would be a great place to start the brand because the shopper here enjoys luxury items, and they can see the value as well as the craftsmanship in the boots. All our boots are made in Italy. We're in the same factory as some of the other luxury footwear brands. And both her and I were talking and said, it's perfect for the Singaporean woman because she loves luxury and she loves good quality and beautiful craftsmanship. We always thought we'd love to enter Asia, but it was a dream. And Wendy helped make it a reality, which is really nice. And also my friend Brittany Levinson as well, she was part of it. So the two of them said, I think this is perfect for Singapore.
Every place has its own fashion culture. How would you describe local client, Singapore client, in comparison with your customers in the US?
Well, from what I can tell about the Singapore client, is that they really love beautiful, tailored suiting, as well as a lot of solid colors, not a lot of patterns. It's very chic and elegant. And I think in the US, a lot of the American customers, I noticed that they wear brighter colors and more patterns. Personally, I think that I tend to be more of a Singapore woman in that everything is very beautiful and understated, but it's also so elegant and chic.
And what have been the biggest challenges for you expanding internationally?
I think the biggest challenge for me internationally is just
logistics.
Getting the product here. I think that was the hardest for us, but we did it. I think in the future, again, it would be more logistics because our warehouse for shipping is located in the United States. But I think there are ways to ship from our manufacturer, which is great. And so we're still working through that.
Okay, so you started with this trunk show. What were the challenges that maybe you faced, or maybe you're expecting to face entering Singapore market?
Because we did this trunk show in Hong Kong before, so we kind of know how to do it, and the approach, we use the same approach. I think that the challenges is about making sure people come to it. I mean, because we go to a lot of effort and expense to put on a trunk show, I think that was the main thing. The challenge was to make sure people come to it and people have to take the time to discover the brand, and to get to know us. Because I think UnitedWood is a relationship brand, it's a word of mouth brand. You have to engage with us, and we like engaging with people. We are not like we're not, of course, we're not the big brands that, there's always so many things going on, right? So we are a very straightforward brand. I think for us, we like to be honest brand. What you see is what you get.
Okay, so you said that the most important thing was that people would come, but how to make sure that the right people would come?
We had good luck, I think. I think luck plays a lot into, I think when you do a trunk show, a lot of things must be aligned, because the trunk show is only for 2-3 days, Sometimes, right, people can't come, or people are not interested to come, that kind of thing. So in those 3 days, it's very compressed. So I think a lot of it actually depends on, I mean, I have to say, luck. If one advice I can give for a first timer, I would say, don't depend on one thing. What we did with this show was we had a few spots going out. We worked with a few people. So we had things that we did not rely on just one channel. We relied on different channels. And
the culture in Singapore and Malaysia is actually quite close,
quite similar.
Yeah.
Okay, and you do understand the market here and people here, but for those who don't, what would be the highlights? What people like here, what people don't like here?
I think you have to be authentic. I think that's the main thing. I think as a brand, you have to be authentic, you have to be yourself. I think people like authenticity nowadays. We felt that doing things on our own terms was the most important, being your authentic self, I guess. So I think people will engage more when you're being yourself.
Speaking of your plans in Singapore, would you like to have a permanent store or pop-up, or this is your model with these trunk shows, this is the model that you want to continue? How do you see that, the development?
I think no store. I think pop-ups, yes.
Pop-ups, yes.
I think we would like to...
But no store.
No store.
Why?
Because I feel that UnitedWood is a word of mouth brand, and we like to keep it that way. If you know, you know. And I think people like that because it's kind of, if you're a secret brand that gets people know you by word of mouth, we would be very happy. We are not above the radar kind of brand. I think by keeping small and keeping curated, I think people appreciate it as more. And having more new markets in the future via trunk shows.
And what markets are you interested in?
With Thailand, we're looking at China as well. Yeah, we're kind of putting seeds out, kind of. But honestly, when you say what for a first timer, it's always to do a research. I feel, it's good to know the market. Go to the city or wherever and understand more. Like before we did this, the trunk shows, we actually went to see a few PR agencies. We went to see a few people in the industry, like magazine editors, editor-in-chiefs. We just want to get their feedback to the brand. What they think of the brand and any advice they give us. I think you need to do a research.
Can you give us a couple of advice? Work with magazines, work with influencers, or maybe something doesn't work?
We went through to see a lot of people and they gave us so much advice, we followed none of them. We worked with PR agencies, so that was the main line that a lot of people, they were all saying the same thing. But we did not do that. With us, it's always, I don't know, we just go with instinct. We did not want to do it that way, even though the advice was, everyone was giving the same advice. Honestly, everyone was giving the same advice. We came and see a lot of agencies here, and also some people in the fashion industry, and they were all giving the same advice, but we did none of it. I don't know why. We did it our own way. As designers, we must know our brand strengths well and work on those. I mean, for me, I feel consistency is very important as a brand. you know. And I think for us, we are very passionate about our design, and we always invest totally. I think you must have the product must be amazing, and that's how we focus. I think you got to focus on your craft. I think that's very important, right? Being consistent. Each season you have a good collection or a collection that you're proud of, you know. I think there's something we try to do.
A good collection is actually very important because it speaks by itself. People come, they like, they buy.
Yeah.
Is it enough that only that collection?
I think now in this time and age, more and more you have to have your craft. Because nowadays when we see, in fashion nowadays, there's so much things going on, and people just see things so quickly. I think you must actually have your craft. Even, you know, you must know your craft. I think the craft is very important. I feel more and more in this social media age that we live in, or, you know, in the new world that we live in. I think people want to connect with craft. They want to connect with authenticity, which is very important. To us, you know, when we do something, I think you must be proud of it. Everything that you put out, you must be proud of.
And speaking of this event, so you choose this format like intimate, invite only event. What was the vision behind it? You see this just as a beginning, as a start?
Yeah, I think this is a start. It's a good way for us to test the market and see if the women in Asia will actually take to cowboy boots and they want to wear them and they'd like to have us here. So I thought this was a great place to do it, and I thought that also having it in an intimate setting, you can talk to the women and make sure that they love the idea.
I've asked already about like clientele. How is it different in different regions where you worked? If you compare with the US, what will be the main?
Oh, totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different. When we did the US market, there was a lot of it was down to what people like. You do what people like, not necessarily what you like. I think that's very that's how the way we see things are very different now. What we do now is what we like. If I were to be very honest with our experiences when we do the US, during those days we were dictated by people on what to do, because they think that this can sell.
Like what?
Oh.
For example?
They're just trends, and I think trends being a very important thing. Like for us, we don't really follow trends. We do what we like. We do what we're passionate about. Like, you know, John's couture background, you know, and mine is like architecture, instruction, and silhouette. We do what we like. We don't follow trends. Actually, you will not see a trend. I think it's very hard to find a trend-setting thing in our collection. A lot of it's just what we are. Just doing what we feel, fashion, and what we get excited by, like a dress or a detail or material or fabrication. You know, I think that's something. Again, tying back to authenticity, I think that's very important.
And it's interesting that when I asked you about your future plans, you mentioned only Asian markets.
I think the action is in Asia for now. Yes. I mean, for us, I feel like there is so much space, a lot of space in Asian fabric. You know, not in regionally, or in China, Taiwan, Hong Kong. I think a lot of energy is actually in Asia, and I think people are at a stage of their lives. They want to discover more about regional talents. Doing things small is also a very fulfilling way. We just want to be fulfilling, you know, do things on our own terms, be happy what we do.